And a good morning. Happy Monday morning, September 19th. Thanks for tuning into this and not the this is the news you need. This is the breakfast runs that you need. This, instead of watching the Queen's funeral, we appreciate you kind of taking time and watching me sit and chat with one of my buddies from OKC. I was just up there for a week last week, and we'll probably kind of get into a little recap of that week once I bring them on. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in right now. And if you're tuning in wherever you're at, just chime in, say hello, and feel free to kind of interrupt us and ask some questions too. We always love it when we get banter from the audience, or questions from the audience, or ideas to talk about from the audience. Again, it's Monday morning after a long week in Oklahoma City. It's been a blast. So if you're tuning in now, say hello, chime in, and I'm going to bring in our guest today, who is none other than the man, the myth, the newlywed legend, Solomon Sanchez. How you doing, buddy? Who's completions engineer too at where?
Ascent Resources.
That's right, Ascent Resources. Ascent Resources. How do I know that name? Oh my God, wait. Is that the same Ascent that is a community sponsor for the upcoming Kids Crew Oklahoma City event?
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Well, first off, I appreciate that. Let's see where everyone's kind of tuning in from right now. We got Gianna saying, good morning, Cypress, Texas. How are you? I owe you a phone call. We are overdue to catch up. And that's kind of my bad. I've been traveling a bunch lately, and I think the next 2 weeks are still going to be kind of hectic. But maybe hopefully after that, we kind of sit down and kind of have a conversation. So thanks for tuning in this morning. So where else is everyone kind of chiming in from? Have you ever watched one of these?
No, I actually haven't. Not live. I've gone back and seen a few.
I'm okay with that. I know live's kind of tough. And what have you thought of the past conversations?
Yeah, been pretty good so far. I don't know. It's just always good to hear from the other people.
So what I'm thinking about doing, and this, you might be the last breakfast run guest out there ever. So I've realized that there's so much like conversations that I have, from ranging from the the AADE MidCon symposium last week, when I had several people on. We got the breakfast runs, we got the coffee and beans and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about changing everything up to just having it be called crew conversations. That way it's kind of all across the board, all encompassing. So you might be the last. I just had this idea last night. Usually I get creative like at 10 o'clock at night when I'm trying to go to sleep. So thank you for being on the show this morning. Let's see where else people are tuning in from. We got Christopher tuning in from Houston. Good morning, Christopher. How you doing today? We have Jamie Taylor tuning in. Good morning. En route to Midland, Texas from South Texas. Drive safe. That is always a fun/brutal drive.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of road there. And then who else we got? Abid, good morning, Houston, Texas. 5-star downhole tools. Great going, JP. Thanks, Abid. Appreciate that. And you are tuning in from where right now? You're in OKC right now.
Yep, I'm in Oklahoma City.
So we actually, it's been a long time that we talked. We got together last Thursday at a crew club event, which I thought was a pretty dang good time. What's been your feedback from those events?
It's been, for one, it's always a good time when you can have some wine and some good steak. But yeah, I think a lot of it, what's been so enjoyable is just getting to talk to different operators. For whatever reason, it's been a good crop of people that I hadn't been connected to before.
Right.
And so it's been it feels like, pretty relaxed setting, and kind of get to know people a little bit better.
That's the funny part of it. Whenever I'm always like reaching out to like cold calling or whatever like that, and like being like, hey, look, I want to invite you to this event and all that stuff. There's a lot of hesitation. It's always like, okay, well, what are you selling? What do you pay? I'm like, nothing. There's no sales pitch. It's genuine network building. I've seen it benefit from all sides of the table. From the service side, from the operator side, which I really really dig. I gotta do a little plug like that because now Q4 membership is open. And before we get into this, I'm going to have to plug a couple things. So let's see who else is tuning in. Riley, morning, Oklahoma City. I love Oklahoma City, man. I'm not just saying that because I really do enjoy Oklahoma City, man, especially after going to juniors on Wednesday night. Scott Witt, good morning. Wouldn't miss Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Warren. Thanks, Scott, for the love, man. I love me some Scott Witt. He took me on an Oklahoma City tour, a Scott Witt tour after the golf game.
Nice.
We got old Ray Trevino. Good morning, JP from Fort Worth, Texas. Another city I love. What's going on, Ray? Thanks for tuning in, brother. And I will see him. I'll see you next week when I'm going up there. We got Jeremy. Morning from down the hall. So we got to keep this tame this morning. Otherwise, Jeremy will walk down the hall and kind of get on lives and scold you like a parent.
I have a celebrity appearance.
So, all right. So before we kind of get this kicked off and kind of look, we don't know what we're going to talk about this morning. We think a lot of things that we have discussed. Obviously, we want to get your insight on it, ranging from personnel, stuff that you're kind of challenged with, faced with, whether it's sand short, whatever, but even kind of stuff that people aren't talking about. That's kind of maybe like creating a challenge, or actually even probably opportunities that you're seeing kind of in your realm, in your area, and all that stuff. So I do want to give a shout out to Royal Completion Tools for sponsoring the show. They're connect with old Ethan Etzel and the rest of the crew over there at Royal Completion Tools. Great group, a bunch of engineers designing plugs. That's all I got to say. So we got to do a little short commercial for them. And then obviously, look, I know this commercial is kind of getting old. That's why we're going to do another one this week when I'm headed to Denver tomorrow with Ethan. All right, so here, I want to thank Royal Completion Tools. Check them out. And here's
to all you completion engineers, company men, and consultants out there. Are you sick and tired of losing sleep over frac plugs not getting to depth, not holding pressure, or not drilling out properly? Or maybe you aren't getting the best quality and service from the bigs. Well, stop burning the midnight oil and rest at ease while using Royal Frac Plugs, the most reliable and efficient frac plug on the market. Start your successful completions today by getting in touch with Royal Completion Tools. You can contact them via www.royalcompletiontools.com, sales@royalcts.com, or via LinkedIn. Contact them today to check out some of the best frac plugs out there.
So it's kind of we got to update that. And before we kicked it off, I do want to thank you and the rest of the group over at Ascent Resources for being a community sponsor of Kids Crew Oklahoma City. And those that are watching, is a quick plug. We hosted our first Kids Crew event in Houston in June, and it was awesome. We had about 85 kids, ranging from 2 years old to all the way to 12, 13 years old. And what we did, we brought them together, and we had different operators put on STEM experiments and presentations for them. And at the end, the kids voted on their favorite STEM experiment. And we also, introduced them about energy, hydrocarbons, how they're so important to us, and how we rely on them every day part of our lives. So we're pumped. We're bringing it to Oklahoma City here. There's the logo. What's cool about that, my daughter helped us create that. But yeah, so we're going to Oklahoma City, October 28th at the Science Museum of Oklahoma. Tickets and sponsorships are available. And here's what we have. With the community sponsors, we have a Plaster and Wald, a consultant corporation. We have Ascent Resources. Again, thank you to the whole team over at Ascent Resources. STEM stations, who will be conducting the STEMs is going to be Nova Oil and Gas, 89 Energy, Rocks Exploration, and Oventive. And I want to give a special shout out to our STEM sponsors, New Park Fluid Systems and Oventive for being the STEM sponsors. And sponsorships and tickets are available. And here's some info right there. If you want some more information about Kids Crew or tickets or sponsor opportunities, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me a DM or anything like that. So, man, it's going to be a good time. Let's see what we got. We have Kyle. I love Kyle. Even though he backed out last minute on the juniors. Have you ever been to juniors, by the way?
I've been there a few times. Yeah.
Man, that place is old school oil field.
That's what I hear.
Dude.
Well, that's where all the old deals used to be made.
Deals on napkins, man. That's what it was. It reminds me of the Houston Fouad. So we have Kyle who backed out, but he actually, I gave him a shout out. He introduced me to Brandy Ice, and that's an Oklahoma City thing. So if anyone's in Oklahoma City, you got to try some Brandy Ice. It is delicious. I equate it to being a kid and having your first blizzard. We had Adam Oxen, a special shout out to Adam Oxen. He'll be doing one of the STEM presentations with Rocks Exploration. He's always eager to kind of communicate about the benefits of hydrocarbons and being a kind of industry advocate. So I'm pumped that him and his team are kind of getting involved on the Kids Crew event too. And we have Rob saying good morning. So hey, who's going to be who's going to be doing the STEM stations over there from Ascent?
Honestly, I'm not even sure. Jeremy would probably know, but
Well,
yeah,
actually, you aren't doing the sim stations. I'm sorry. That's right. You're community sponsors. But okay, my bad.
makes sense.
Silly me. Sorry. There's so much going on right now. So many quality people I'm talking to. So anyway, let's get this kicked off. You what's been going on new in your world? You just got married.
Yeah, just got married. Just got back from one of my longest vacations I've ever had.
How long was the vacation?
It was about 2.5 weeks.
Okay. Ooh.
So yeah, so it feels really good to be married. I mean, pretty much started planning a year ago for the proposal. So we had less than a year of engagement, and so actually started planning end of August last year for the proposal, and then proposed late October.
Now, was she surprised? I mean, was it like kind of like a thing where it's like she's pretending to get mugged and you come in and save the day and you're the hero? Is it one of those things? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of thought into the proposal. She loves surprises, but she's also very involved in and I guess you could say nosy in the whole situation. She was wanted it to be a surprise, but also wanted to figure out when it was happening.
Okay.
And so trying to balance all of that, and there was a list of things that she had desires that she kind of envisioned her proposal being like, and so I tried to add in some of those things. But yeah, the way I did it is I surprised her in the morning, and so she knew pretty much the day of, but I had a whole lot of activities for her with her family kind of lined up from the morning.
So she had no idea when that day would happen.
She didn't know when the day would happen, and she didn't know what the process or like what she'd be doing that whole day. So every single thing she went to was kind of a surprise. And so
that is a lot of planning.
Yeah. I mean, I had her busy from 9 in the morning to midnight.
I guess
the whole day.
I guess if you can plan a frac, you can plan
Yeah. I did use some of the skills I've learned from work into it. So
okay, all right. So go on.
Project planning.
Go on.
Yeah, just the entire project planning, getting talking to different, trying to figure out what activities, where it should be, planning even down to the detail of how long it would take her from drop to one place to another. So I had everything perfectly timed to where we were on schedule, but also of course, just like everything else, nothing ever goes completely to plan.
Right.
So threw in some extra cushion time here and there to plan for some contingencies.
I think it's always so funny. I went to Vegas with a couple buddies, couple engineer buddies, and like it's so funny whenever you start planning stuff with engineers. I mean, there was like spreadsheets, this and that. Oh, this spot's allocated for fun. This spot's allocated for walk. I mean, it's like lined out on everything. So yeah.
It's funny you say that, because for me it's just something that's normal, like using spreadsheets and planning into detail, and apparently it's not normal for everyone. And even to the extent that with her and her family, they thought it was really funny because that's when they really got to see me break out the spreadsheets and the planning and everything that went into it. So like even at the wedding itself, my father-in-law now in his speech, he incorporated the fact that I even use spreadsheets for planning, and just mentioned the detail that I go to for things. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I think so. Okay, so the proposal went well. Obviously, you said yes, and you got married in Oklahoma City. What's up?
Yeah, we got married in Oklahoma City. So it was a lot of our family is here. She grew up in Edmond, and my family lives in South OKC. So I actually have some extended family here now as well. So it was just it made sense for us.
All right, so I want to get back. I'll tell you what. Let's sandwich this. Okay, we got a little personal about the proposal, the spreadsheets, and all that stuff. And at the end, in the middle, the meat, I want to talk about a little bit about the oil field. Obviously, that's what people are tuning in. And at the end, I kind of want to chime in about your trip to Italy and kind of some of your experiences and do's and don'ts and tips for travelers all around. So okay. So where are you from originally?
I'm an Oklahoma born and bred guy. So I was born and raised in Altus, Oklahoma, which is the very southwest corner of Oklahoma.
Okay. All right. So you went to OU? Where'd you go to school?
Nope. So I actually, so I lived in Altus, grew up there, but my family moved to Oklahoma City
Okay.
when I was in high school. So my last 2 years of high school, I graduated from Westmore, go Jags, and from there, went to Oklahoma State. And that's where I got my engineering degree from
Oh,
there.
it's mechanical engineer, right?
Yep. So I got a mechanical engineering degree, but I added a petroleum engineering minor.
So I actually talked to a gentleman named Tom Davis there when I was up there last week for the AED mid-comp symposium. And I saw a couple cats walking around OSU shirts, and I grabbed him, got him behind the mic, and yeah, he was saying that OSU, it's there's no petroleum engineer degree. It's you get a mechanical engineer degree and you get a minor in petroleum. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So you can actually, you can do anything. You can do, I guess the most popular things are mechanical and chemical engineering as a major on. And usually if you're interested, you kind of add on the petroleum engineering minor.
So what brought, I guess besides your love of spreadsheets and planning out, what led you to kind of pursue? Are you first generational field? Let's peel the onion. Let's peel the layers back on you a little bit. What kind of led you to pursue a career in the oil and gas industry?
Well, when I was in college, I was I was going to school based off of, saved up money, student loans, and some scholarships. So for me, it was critical to get scholarships, to get an internship, in the summers to help pay for school. And so, after my freshman year, just kind of shotgunned and just applied to all sorts of internships.
From where was it specifically? Was it all over the board, or was it
all over the board? I mean, I'm from Oklahoma, so you see oil and gas, and I'd heard about it, and I just knew kind of what the average person would know. But so yeah, shotgunned after freshman year, did not get an internship. But I learned a lot through the failures, through the interview. I got to the interviews and learned a lot about how those ran. But so kind of ended up getting a separate job after freshman year just to kind of make ends meet. And then after my sophomore year, I went back, interviewed, and kind of took my lessons learned and applied them to try to get more contacts with people, and got a couple handful of interviews and actually a couple offers, and really clicked with the people from Devon Energy. They offered me an internship, and ended up taking it. And that was kind of my very first exposure, I guess, to the oil field.
So what was your first role?
So I was an operations engineering intern in Bridgeport, Texas.
Okay.
So it was in the field, and little did I know that was like one of the main birthplaces of fracking. Working with the old Mitchell Energy crew, which was really, looking back, it's such an incredible experience. But aside from that, I mean, that's when I really got exposed to the culture, and that's really what made the biggest difference for me. Was one, everything I was learning, it started clicking. Like everything that they were teaching me, it just really clicked with me. And aside from that, I really loved just the culture that I was exposed to. It reminded me kind of what I grew up around in Altus, Oklahoma. It's a little bit, where you have, just really hardworking, genuine people, and seeing some of the people in the field that didn't even, go to college and were some of the smartest people I'd ever met, was really cool. And just to see how that dynamic was, just the culture overall, I just fell in love with it. And that's when I decided to get my minor and kind of pursue.
I mean, personally, you have some of my favorite characters in this field, in this industry. You know what I mean? You have some hilarious sayings, characters, and all that stuff. So I love the fact that you got field experience first, which actually is the hesitation for a lot of soon-to-be graduates that I'm learning.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that kind of just want to go to the office immediately and bypass the field and all that. So I'm not saying that's everyone, but you're hearing that kind of trend, and I guess explain kind of the importance of getting some field experience.
No, that's really interesting because, I mean, so that internship went really well. It's in, I think, 2015-ish. So that was like right at the tip of, the downturn, and ended up it's funny because I'm just saying this because this summer afterward, I had a return offer, but it ended up getting rescinded because of the state of the industry. And so
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm not even working yet, and I've already been laid off.
You've
You
already,
know, so
busts.
yeah, at the time, even like as an engineering student, like for me, I was like, I'll do anything. I don't care. I'll be a roughneck. I'll swing the hammers. I don't care. Just get me out there. I just want to be involved in the culture and kind of work my way up. If that means, swinging a hammer, so be it. And so it's really interesting to see that how, I guess back then we didn't really have a choice. It was kind of do what you can to get in the door and go from there. But I guess now it's maybe a little bit different with the opportunities, which is awesome. I'm really happy that it seems like there's a lot more opportunities today than there were at that time.
You think so?
I mean, it sounds like if they have a choice between going straight into the office or
I'm not quite sure if it's a choice versus a not knowing maybe. But anyway, no, I mean that's the one thing that I was kind of pressing as well. It's like, I remember I was on shore for about I was working at Noble Drilling in the office for about 3-4 years, and I'm reading all these books about this is this system, this is this system, this is the monkey board, and it never clicked. And just like you said, when you get out there, once you're out there and you see it and you see actually the operation from start to finish, then it starts kind of clicking. And the main thing that I actually learned out there is kind of the ability to communicate that. Because before I was so nervous to call the rigs, I'm like, okay, they're going to call my bluff. You know what I mean? They're going to have no idea what he's talking about. I didn't. But it kind of gave me the confidence to talk, to anyone from, from the CEO down to the roustabout, So you're really enjoying. Plus, honestly, the friends and the characters you meet out in the field. I mean, I think that's something that's you can't replace that.
No, you can't. And I feel like at least what it seems like to me is that even every basin has its own, flavor or just differences in the way things are done or different technologies, different strategies. And so, so I mean, it's so niche. It's really interesting to think about just how, unique the oil field is as a whole. Just the way the operations are ran, the 24 hours ops. The people it brings in and just the culture itself is it's so unique and something that you have to like experience and truly like see and live through to kind of learn more. And I'm still learning, and it's continually changing. It seems like
which is fun. So whenever you're, I guess, planning, like whether it's a frac or whether it's like that, you have all this stuff going on right in your world and all that stuff. Do you find yourself get stressed? Do you kind of do you execute better when you have all that pressure and kind of plate spinning? I mean, what's that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would rather be running around with my head cut off, working on things than kind of having a slow pace. I love it. I love the fast pace, the make decisions now. Pull as much information as you can and try to make a decision and getting the teams together and talking through problems. I enjoy the faster paced environment.
I mean, so you were at Devon for how long?
Just the summer. I mean, just that something.
So when did you get over to Ascent Resources?
So I got hired on straight out of college.
Okay.
So I had the internship the next summer. I had my offer revoked because just the industry. And then the summer after that, I graduated, and so that's when I started working with Ascent. And they had a development program and moved me to Ohio, and I was there for almost a year and a half.
Okay.
Kind of rotating through the different.
I met at your company. I mean, has got to be such a fun place to work. You are surrounded by like-minded folks. Like young, cool, like fun, smart, personable people. I mean, what's the culture like over there?
Oh, I'm sure I'm a little bit biased, but we have an incredible team. I mean, everyone in the office, everyone in the field. We're very lean as well, so we don't have a whole lot of people, but the people that are here are very high quality, performing high performing individuals. So, getting out in the field, it was really cool to meet or to work alongside with a really good team, and super helpful. There wasn't any, huge egos out there that were willing to teach me and work with me. Once they saw, how much you're willing to work, that you weren't just in there from, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., that you're willing to work early mornings or late nights or weekends or whatever, that you're just genuinely there because you love it and you want to learn. Like, they took us under their wings and, would teach us everything they knew. So it's really fun to work with everyone here.
That's the thing. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's a great point. There isn't a lot of what I've noticed. There's not a lot of egos. It seems very collaborative. It seems like a good family friend type of an environment, especially the people that I've met that work over there. So
yeah,
I feel like you're kind of in a great spot right now with your team.
Yeah. I mean, great team, great amount of responsibilities. So I've been able to learn a lot, and it seems like everyone's pretty well connected. So even outside of Ascent, just the people we have here, it seems like they have a lot of connections to a lot of operator service companies, and so it's been cool to kind of get to talk to other people and learn from everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, you always expand those connections with other E&P operators at, like, I don't know, crew club events too. But anyway, we can't ask that anyway. That's
exactly.
Plug, but that's what this is here for. So, okay, so let's kind of talk about kind of the broad. I kind of want to get into kind of the broad look, whether it's sand, personnel, or even minor stuff, kind of subsurface stuff that you're kind of seeing. What kind of challenges that you're or squeezes that you're kind of feeling lately, I guess, in your current role, that either that's been talked about or hasn't been talked about, or just kind of that you're feeling. Then also after that, I kind of want to talk about, like, I guess, stuff that you're seeing that's kind of exciting, new stuff that's exciting that you're kind of getting pumped about.
Yeah.
And those are tough. I mean, look, you're on the spot, so I can keep rambling a little bit too till you collect it.
No, yeah. I mean, we can start with, I guess, issues. I think right now the biggest thing, at least in my head, is trying to find a new baseline. What's the new normal? It's been pretty interesting to see just how, how with the updated, gas and oil prices, how that's affected, the personnel, the crews, just the, new pricing and efficiencies, trying to understand how everything lands is.
Like, what makes sense, what doesn't right now?
Yeah, because I mean, it's different now. I mean, it's funny because, like, when I first started, I was like, man, I can't wait for a boom. It's gonna be. You hear all these stories of, man, it's crazy. Everyone's running around and working. People are just, you're just trying to get the job done. Just don't worry about it. Just run, get it and go, kind of thing. And it has not been like that, at least for us. It's been, trying to understand, I guess, be a little bit more concerned about pricing and where it's going, trying to figure out what's the new baseline. Yeah. And a problem we've had as well is just the personnel out in the field. Like, it doesn't seem like it's been as easy to get new personnel and to maintain the boots on the ground, the crews and the people out in the field. With the increased demand, we haven't necessarily been able to find the supply of crews, supply of equipment to answer that demand, and so it's been pretty much steady.
It's kind of a double whammy too. Like, number one, you have a lot of the experienced personnel that kind of, like, during the last slump, in 2021, it was, okay, well, I'm done. I'm gonna spend time, on my, I'm gonna retire. So you have a huge exodus of experience, and then you also have an incoming group of inexperienced personnel. And look, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying, I mean, we're all experienced at a lot of things, but you have a lot of inexperienced personnel coming in, but you also have a high numbers of the people that just started their hitches leave. So it's one of those. Like, it's a very interesting, challenging time for our industry right now to kind of retain. And to me, it's a lot of oil field pride. I don't think there's a lot of oil field pride out there anymore. It's not the people that are on the outskirts about to get in. There's not a lot of I worked hard, rolled up my sleeves, got dirty. It's I feel like the pride isn't there as much as it used to be.
Yeah, I think that's at least to me, it seems like one of the biggest problems is the pride in it. There's no desire or just appreciation, I guess, of the role people do. And see, I don't know if it's just the understanding. There's a lack of understanding in the in our in America of like just how important and critical these roles are, and how much they affect everyone's day-to-day lives. That's something that, just like the other day I did it, gave a presentation to completions 101 to like our accounting group. And, it was just, even the people here that work here, their eyes were, getting big, thinking about, wow, I didn't realize like, this many people are working on a 24-hour, 12-hour shifts every single day. It doesn't matter if it's the weekend, holiday, birthday, anniversary, like whatever, like they're out there busting their tails so that we have heat in our homes, so that we have electricity at a reasonable price. And you don't see that, I guess, pride from the personnel, the new workers that are joining in. And we've seen that a lot as well, where, people will start their hitch, the very first hitch, and quit before.
It's not for me, I'm done.
Yeah. I don't know if there's just better opportunities elsewhere, or, and I get it. Like, it is tough. Like, it's, people are working through not the easiest, conditions, like, especially like in Ohio, it can get really cold in the winters, and, it's tough.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like, being single these days. If you're dating someone, don't line up 5 different dates, from Bumble or Tinder or Hinge, whatever you're on. You got to commit a little bit of energy and effort to kind of form a bond, So when you're going out there for your first hitch, like, trust me, like, I didn't enjoy working offshore because of the work. Okay. And I'm going to admit that right now. I enjoyed working offshore because the people that were out there and the stuff you learn. So you have to give it a little bit of time. I mean, you have to give a little bit of a commitment of energy and effort to connect with these people, because I guarantee you that community that you're going to have out there, not just in the field, but also our entire industry, it's worth it if the time and effort's invested into, I guess, people and establishing friends versus, I don't like this work. I don't like that. I don't like, trimming the weeds or the lawn and all that stuff either, but you do it,
Yep. That's a good point.
I think I have a lot of good points on this last episode of Breakfast Runs, soon to be called Crew Conversations. So personnel obviously an issue. What can we do? What I like what you just said is that there's not a lot of understanding, not a lot of education. I mean, I'm not faulting that. When growing up in Connecticut, I had no concept of what it took to put gas in a car. Of the entire process, the investment, the knowledge, the intelligence. You just think it's a couple people, throwing chain, getting dirty, but there's a lot more to that. So I think it's crucial as an industry right now, not to have these, to have these discussions, but I think our main focus should be to educate the masses on kind of not just the benefits of hydrocarbons and energy, such as a lot of people are doing, but just to kind of provide an education on kind of what we do, who we are, and kind of, I guess, also the benefits too.
Yeah.
So,
especially now, I think not only in the oil field, but just and all across all industries, it seems like public perception goes a long way, and there's not that many outlets, I guess, for I guess the general public to hear from, someone from the oil field, or just kind of to give a better understanding of the processes and just the culture itself. It's not as what everyone reads about.
It seems like it's and obviously we're kind of repeating each other in an echo chamber, but it's kind of you're kind of make something a villain when it's kind of like getting mad at right now. It's kind of getting mad at clean air. It's like it's we need it for our lives. It's extremely important, but yet we're villains because it's the easy thing to do. Energy's been politicized. So all right. What else is going on in your world? What are you excited about? I guess besides the lack of personnel sticking around the sites or anything like that. What are you getting excited about in our industry?
The general direction. It seems like there's more security in this industry, and it looks like I'm really bullish on the direction this whole industry goes. I mean, there's only going to be the constant or increasing demand for energy. So I think from a stability standpoint, it's comforting to know that I guess I'll have a job for the next 5 years, hopefully, and just kind of keep on kicking the can down the road and staying engaged as long as possible here.
And what's funny too? I mean, I know there's booms and busts in industry, but thinking about it right now, it's like, what industry does not experience that? I mean, whether it's hospitality, whether it's tech. I mean, tech's going through a huge bust right now with all these layoffs and all that. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's the misconception is that booms and busts and instability is just in the oil field, but I think that's a good point. With the energy crisis, you want to call it, or anything like that, with everything going on, I mean, you're right. I think the booms and busts, yes, it might not be as drastic or as quick, but I mean, it's you can get that in any industry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what Omar's tuning in from Boston, Massachusetts. What's going on? I dig that. Right? I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Omar says upstream sector has done a very poor job in educating PR, general public, unlike the grid. I completely agree. I think good marketing and good advertising and telling stories sways public perception. And we always argue with facts, data, but that doesn't change shift public perception. Stories do, emotions do. So they've done a great job of marketing green energy, which you and I both know that's not green. All right, so hold on a second. Sorry about that. All right, so and that's a good point. So I mean, I remember talking to a couple people, and a lot of people, and that's kind of the backdrop of why Kids Crew started. There's a lot of people that truly believe that the oil and gas industry is going to be gone in 3 years. We're not going to need fossil fuels in 3 years, and that's a huge disservice to the future of our industry because. I mean, obviously, I don't need to get into the reasons why, but there is a public perception of that the industry's dead. I was talking to that Tom Davis guy from OSU, and he's about to graduate, and he was leaving a petroleum engineer class, and he got like heckled. They're like, "Why don't you just pretty soon it's gonna be called renewable engineering?" It's like, no, it's not. It's not actually. I know. I mean, but that's what people are facing even on the college level. So something that we definitely need to communicate to our kids, our families. Just I'm not saying run a narrative or anything like that, but at least provide some framework of the realities of energy versus the expectations of energy.
Yeah, so, I think that's another reason why I really appreciate the things that you do, because I don't think it's necessarily that we have to go and present to just everyone in the general public. I think more than anything, we just need to be transparent about what we're doing and letting people see kind of these conversations and that are not just oil field, but people beyond the oil field to hear from us, to understand what's going on. Because, I mean, I care about the environment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be, as good as we possibly can. And I don't want to, add to the global warming or anything like that. I care about the earth as well. And I'm, and my job is fracking, you know what I mean? So it's not as it's just interesting just the stereotypes you'll hear from other people who don't know anything about the industry.
It's funny. I've not met one person in the oil and gas industry that does not love a good sunset, ranch, hunting, fishing, outdoor, whatever it is. I mean, the thing is though, like we are environmentalists in the oil and gas industry, and that's something that's definitely been painted that we're not. And it's a shame. So. And that's the thing, dude. I mean, honestly, I want to bring up kind of Italy and chat about that for about 5-10 minutes because, I mean, what if someone's tuning in, that's outside of our echo chamber and they're hearing about Italy and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's an oil and gas. Oh, okay, well, he isn't a villain. He's a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to this person. I just kind of want to create a platform for people to relate to people. I think that's extremely important versus, whenever you meet your enemy, it's a lot harder to dislike them if you've had conversations or if you hear that, they're family members too, and they share a lot of the same values.
Mm-hmm.
Janie tuned in. He was heckled. Well, not really heckled. He got called out for the petroleum class. People are almost illiterate about our industry. We have to do a better job in the education process. I completely agree, and that's kind of whether it's education, whether I always say we got to reintroduce who we are. to people outside of our echo chamber, because there's definitely stereotypes on the oil field worker. And that's something I personally can't stand. That's the point of this. Let's look. I know it's 10:40. We've been chatting for 40 minutes. Why don't you give us a little quick tour of your Italy trip, your honeymoon. And by the way, 2.5 weeks. Who'd you rely on to kind of cover you in those 2.5 weeks?
Let's just say I have a really good team here.
I bet you do. For 2.5 weeks, yeah. At first it was fine. About the 10th day, they're like, "All right, man, you got to get off." So tell me about your trip, man.
No, it was great, and I had a lot of help from some friends, and all people from all over, people in the from Ascent as well. Just kind of anyone who's been to Italy. I try to ask questions and get feedback on tips and tricks and all that stuff. But for us, we were there for 2 weeks. We flew into Rome. We were there for a few days, and then we went to Florence.
Okay.
From Florence, we were able to make some day trips to the coast.
You go to the region?
Yep. Yeah, we did that. We hiked through it.
Okay. How many cities did you hike through? 1 or all 5?
5. Yep. We did all 5. Yeah. So we took the train through 3 of them, and then we hiked from one to another.
How cool is that area?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, I tell people it's like, it's just like our brains weren't even registering like what we were looking at. It was just unreal. Like,
it was too much.
Yeah, we'd take a picture and I'd look at it and I'd just be like, wow, am I really standing here right now? So it was, phenomenal. It was such a great experience. There was a lot of other people in Italy too that were on their honeymoon, so that made it fun as well, because we'd meet people from all over, from Norway, from Australia, from the UK, from the US as well. And so it was just fun to meet people who were just like us, just kind of looking to make friends as well, and just explore.
What was your favorite city?
Favorite city? It's so hard.
They're all different, man. But this is
they're all. Every single experience was like a once in a lifetime experience. What I've been telling people though is that my top 2 experiences was seeing the Colosseum in Rome, because that was just, I think, eye-opening. Just exposed to the history, the engineering, just everything involved with that was just incredible to see. And then also boating through Lake Como in Bellagio was just phenomenal. It was the views, the weather. Just everything about it was just absolutely breathtaking. So those were the top 2, I think, that really stuck out to me. And this for us, like this is our honeymoon. This was our bucket list trip. So we did everything we could that we were, capable of doing, because we didn't want to leave any stones unturned. And, I'd never been to Italy before. My wife had never even been overseas. And so this was new to us. And we did as much as we could.
Talk to me. Well, first off, we have a question from Summer. Where'd y'all stay in Italy? Were they like, what is it? Did you spoil her and do a lot of what is it called? What are those? The hostels?
So didn't do any hostels. I thought about it, but I was like, well, I don't know how that would be with the honeymoon and all. And so I was like, well, let's go ahead and get some. We got hotels, and I just mapped it out. I tried to figure out what activities we would be doing and put it in a place that we'd be able to walk from.
Spreadsheet. Approximately.
I was planning. I timed it out. Okay, it would take us this long to get here to there, and then so I kind of thought about it beforehand. But like I said, I had a lot of help from people who had recommendations of activities, of hotels, and
the food.
Food was phenomenal. Right. I had pizza, pasta, and wine every single day for 2 weeks straight, and it was delicious. It was. They really pride themselves, at least my experience there, of course, probably in a little bit more touristy areas, but it seemed like they had a lot of pride in the quality and freshness of their food. Like when I'd ask, okay, what should I get for dessert or something like that? And the way they would explain what the best thing to get was, they'd say, oh, get the tiramisu, it was made this morning. And I'd be like, all right, I'll go for that. So it kind of seemed like whatever was the freshest, whatever had the highest quality ingredients was the thing that was best there.
I remember when I got my master's in France. I lived there for about a year and a half, and people are like, "Oh, no." They literally grade you on your ability to speak English. So
Yeah.
I passed. I got a C. I remember I was like eating all this pasta and cheese and wine, all that stuff, and I'm like, "Well, this is how the Europeans eat. Like, I'll be fine. I'll walk it off." I was walking like I would think like consuming like 30 like whatever 30,000 like calories of carbs, and I could walk it off like in a mile, just because like, oh, let's sell the Europeans.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I gained like 25 pounds over there. It was so good. I'm not afraid to do it again. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. I know he's got some stuff to do, but let's kind of feel the questions and comments from the audience. See what y'all have to say. Lucas says it's a part-time job, just correcting industry-related facts better to my kids that they bring home from school. They think they know more about my day job than I do, and it isn't very positive or accurate. Well, man, that's kind of that sounds like Kids Crew is something to get involved in on that point. But no, there's a lot of students. My daughter's in 3rd grade and 2nd grade. I remember being at a lunch and someone raised their hand, and their kid was in 2nd grade, and they said, pretty much, "Mommy, why are you in the oil and gas industry? Like, it's gonna be gone in 3 years. Like, shouldn't you find another job?" So you're right. There is a huge disconnection on the realities, which is why Kids Crew is trying to at least chip away at that problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Omar, I have lots of materials for teaching kids, adults, patrolling for non-patrolman engineers. Maybe we should just post on LinkedIn. Omar, absolutely. I guess everyone out there, Omar, start posting those and give him a follow. All right. Amazing variety of gelatos in Italy. Exactly. And
yes.
The pistachio gelato.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to leave this beautiful Cinque Terre region, and you have to fly back into Oklahoma.
Yep.
That's how I feel
Hey,
about
but I will say there is a lot of things here that I love, and I'm proud of being here. And I love just there's a lot of good things about living in Oklahoma and the U.S. in general compared to Italy. So I will say Italy was incredible. It was unbelievable, but there's a lot of things you can get here that you can't get there too. So.
I find the convenience about the U.S. Is very enticing. I mean, we have 24 hours open. I mean, you can find stuff places like there. You have to find like a specialty store to find like Advil or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was beautiful. And I found like we were over in Paris for our honeymoon for about 10 days, and around day 7 or 8, my wife and I were like, all right, ready to get back. Ready to get back in bed.
Yeah, like last week, me and my wife went to a burger place, and we were just sitting there in a restaurant. We're like, man, how nice is this that we have AC in here, that we're not jam-packed in a small room with lots of people, and that, our servers are really attentive to us and really nice, that we can take to-go boxes home, and no one looks at us weird. And so it was just, so there's a lot of things here as well.
Well, I'm glad you had that experience, man. I appreciate you coming on. This is the last breakfast runs, because I think the more I talk about it, the more I'm convinced myself that breakfast runs will be switched over to crew conversations, just because, we talk to a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, and I think breakfast runs kind of throws people off a little bit. So what else you got for us to kind of leave us on this Monday mid-morning to carry us through the week? What else?
I don't know. What do you got? I mean, you have any questions?
Do you have anything in Italian to say to us that you really want to chime in?
Let's see. What else is going on right now? Just, enjoying football season. I'm glad football season's back. College football's back.
Oh, yeah.
That's been fun.
We have one person. Can we get a hair care routine for it? I think they're probably talking to you because you got long hair, you hippie. No,
right.
So for those that don't know, cut my hair, raised about over $12,000 for the hair, and then once I was done with that, people were chiming in talking about my mustache, and I said, okay, well, y'all are never satisfied, but I'll tell you what, let's raise some money, more money for the Sky High for kids and kids dealing with pediatric cancer. So we raised about almost $14,000 total. And I was telling my wife that it was the most expensive, cheapest makeover I've ever had. Yes, hair care routine now is so much easier. It's impressively easier. I can't even get into it. So everyone out there with long hair, I feel your pain. I get it and I dig it. bring on drillers to talk with. Yeah, I dig it. Absolutely. Well, I'll reach out to a couple. Actually, if you go back in the past, past breakfast runs, we actually have a lot of people, whether it's production, drilling, CEOs, and all that stuff that you can kind of catch up on with. But I'm in. Scott Witt has to chime in with his pride. Boomer. Okay, exactly. That's right. Shake your head. Shake your head at Scott. So anyway, man, I appreciate you coming on. As always, it's great to talk to you, and I want to thank you. And I look 10 years younger, minus the hair and beard. I know my daughter says I look 13 when I picked her up from school. So babies having babies. But no, man, I want to thank you. It's always great chatting with you, and obviously I appreciate the support that your company has for not just Kids Crew, but also I see you get involved in other organizations up in Oklahoma City. One of my favorite cities. Love Oklahoma City. I'm not afraid to shout that. But I want to thank y'all. I want to thank you and the rest of the team for just kind of doing what y'all do and kind of being who you are. And I'll see you my next time in OKC.
Thanks, JP. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I feel honored that you'd even think of me, and I appreciate everything you have said about Ascent. And yeah, so
I'm always fun fact. I'm always thinking about you. Always. So I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in on this Monday morning. You find other breakfast runs on my podcast on my what's it called YouTube channel called The Crew Tube. Check it out. And again, we will be switching the breakfast runs over to Crew Conversations. We have one more scheduled in the beginning of October, but I'm going to try to line some out before then. But hey, man, you have a good week. All right, you keep plugging away. You keep spreading the gospel of the oil field. Okay.
No, I will.
All right, brother. Be good. Talk to you in a little bit.
Thanks. See ya.